Jesus' silent prayer wasn't prayer. The monadic code, for instance. Manifestation without begging. Jesus' silent manifestation code revealed. Traditional prayer operates on a fundamentally flawed premise that keeps humanity perpetually disempowered. The act of asking, begging, or pleading to an external deity reinforces separation consciousness. It positions you as inferior, lacking, and dependent on forces outside yourself. This energetic posture guarantees that manifestation remains slow, inconsistent, or completely absent. Religious institutions have conditioned billions to genuflect before external gods, creating the perfect energetic harvest for archontic entities. Every time you pray traditionally, you emit a frequency of need and insufficiency. This vibration attracts exactly what you're declaring: more experiences of lack and powerlessness. The Archontic overlay feeds on this desperate energy while simultaneously blocking your manifestation attempts. They've constructed an elaborate filtering system that intercepts traditional prayers, ensuring most never reach their intended destination. This explains why countless faithful people pray for decades with minimal results. The monad represents something entirely different from the deity concepts promoted by organized religion. The monad is not a being, entity, or consciousness sitting outside creation judging your worthiness. The monad is the original, undifferentiated source of all existence. It predates the demiurge, the archons, and every layer of the false matrix. The monad doesn't create through thought or will. It creates through pure being and resonance. Jesus understood this distinction with absolute clarity. When he withdrew to pray silently, he wasn't engaging in supplication. He was entering a specific frequency state that aligned him directly with monadic creation force. The gospel accounts describe him going to isolated places, spending hours in silence, and emerging with manifest power to heal, transform matter, and alter reality instantaneously. This wasn't divine favoritism. It was precise energetic technology. The radical reinterpretation of Jesus' prayer practice shatters every religious assumption. He didn't ask for anything because asking implies separation. He didn't beg because begging implies unworthiness. He didn't hope or wish because those states acknowledge doubt. Instead, Jesus entered a state of being where he became indistinguishable from the monad itself. In this state, there's no gap between desire and manifestation. The thought and the thing exist simultaneously. This state of being bypasses all intermediary forces entirely. Archontic entities cannot intercept or interfere with direct monadic resonance. It operates on a frequency spectrum they cannot access or perceive. When you activate this code, you become invisible to parasitic interference, while simultaneously wielding creation force that reorganizes physical reality to match your sovereign will. This is the true secret Jesus demonstrated repeatedly throughout his ministry. Jesus accessed instant manifestation through a precise internal frequency alignment that modern spirituality completely misunderstands. Popular teachings promote visualizing desires, affirming abundance, or raising vibrations through positive thinking. These methods produce marginal results because they operate within the demiurgic overlay, the false light matrix designed to keep you spiritually busy while remaining fundamentally powerless. True monadic resonance requires something far more specific. The key lies in understanding that the monad doesn't respond to requests, emotions, or mental constructs. The monad responds exclusively to resonance matching its fundamental frequency signature. This signature exists beyond all polarities, emotions, thoughts, and concepts. It precedes light and darkness, good and evil, expansion and contraction. Accessing it requires temporarily suspending all conditioned mental activity and entering what mystics call the void state. Jesus' silent prayer practice involved a three-stage process preserved in fragments of Gnostic texts. First, he withdrew all energy from external focus. This means completely disengaging attention from sensory input, thoughts about past or future, and identification with the personal self. Most people cannot maintain this state for even 30 seconds without their mind generating distracting content. Jesus trained his consciousness to remain in this void for extended periods. Second, he activated a specific energetic configuration within his light body. This involved drawing energy downward from his crown chakra, while simultaneously pulling energy upward from his root. These two currents met at his heart center, creating an implosion point of tremendous power. In this configuration, the heart becomes a zero-point field generator, a miniature replica of the monad itself. From this centered stillness, creation force emanates naturally. Third, and most crucial, Jesus held the completed reality state without any attachment to outcome. This paradoxical instruction confuses people endlessly. How do you manifest something specific while not caring whether it manifests? The answer reveals the entire secret. When you're genuinely merged with monadic consciousness, you realize you already possess everything. You exist as the all-containing source. From this state, manifestation isn't acquisition but recognition. The feeling tone of this state is neither excitement nor hope. It's profound peace combined with unshakable knowing. When Jesus said it is finished before seeing physical evidence, he spoke from this monadic awareness. He perceived the completed reality in its energetic form, understanding that physical manifestation follows instantly and inevitably. No gap exists between energetic completion and material appearance, except the brief lag time required for dense matter to reorganize. This explains Jesus' instant healings. He didn't pray for sick people to get better. He perceived them in their monadic blueprint state of perfect wholeness. His consciousness held that frequency with such power that the person's energy field had no choice but to align with it. Their physical form then reorganized instantaneously to match the energetic template. This same principle applies to manifestation of any desire. Accessing Jesus' silent prayer frequency requires understanding that it's not a meditation technique but a consciousness transmission. You cannot think your way into monadic resonance. The thinking mind exists as a tool of the demiurgic overlay, specifically designed to prevent direct source connection. Every thought creates separation between perceiver and perceived. Monadic consciousness transcends this split entirely. Begin by finding complete silence and solitude. External noise interferes with the subtle frequency adjustments necessary for this practice. Sit comfortably with your spine straight but not rigid. Close your eyes and bring your awareness to your breath without attempting to control it. Simply observe the natural rhythm for several minutes until your nervous system begins settling. Now comes the critical shift. Instead of focusing on any specific point in your body or visualization, allow your awareness to expand in all directions simultaneously. Imagine your consciousness spreading outward like ripples on a pond, but in 360 degrees. Keep expanding until you sense yourself as vast space, containing all experiences rather than a small point experiencing vast space. From this expanded awareness, notice the silence between thoughts. Don't try to stop thoughts or clear your mind. Simply pay attention to the gaps of silence that naturally occur between mental activity. These gaps are doorways to monadic consciousness. As you practice, these silent spaces become longer and deeper. You begin experiencing yourself as the silence itself, rather than the mental content that occasionally arises within it. Ready to experience this transformative practice for yourself? I've compiled comprehensive resources in the comments below that include guided instructions, testimonials from practitioners who've achieved instant manifestation, and scholarly analysis of the Gnostic texts that preserve Jesus' original techniques. These materials provide the complete roadmap for activating your monadic connection and bypassing the Archontic filtering system that blocks traditional prayer. The information represents the distilled wisdom of mystery school teachings that were hidden for millennia to prevent mass spiritual liberation. While resting in this silent awareness, introduce the intention you wish to manifest, but not as a request or desire. Instead, sense the completed reality as already existing within the monadic field. You're not creating something new. You're recognizing what already exists in potential and collapsing that potential into physical manifestation through your focused awareness. The feeling is similar to remembering something you'd forgotten rather than hoping for something you lack. Hold this state for a minimum of 20 minutes daily. Initially, your mind will rebel constantly, generating thoughts, doubts, and distractions. This is the demiurgic overlay attempting to maintain its control over your consciousness. Persist with patience. Each time you return to the silent awareness, you strengthen your capacity to remain there. Within 2 to 3 weeks of consistent practice, you'll notice reality beginning to reorganize around your silent intentions, without any physical action required on your part. The heart center functions as your personal zero-point field generator when properly activated through monadic alignment. Quantum physics confirms that empty space isn't empty but contains infinite potential energy. The zero-point field represents this ocean of possibility where particles blink in and out of existence constantly. Jesus understood this principle 2,000 years before modern science discovered it. His silent prayer practice deliberately accessed this field for instant manifestation. When you successfully merge the descending crown energy with the ascending root energy at your heart, you create a controlled implosion of consciousness. This implosion generates a toroidal field, a donut-shaped energy pattern that radiates from your heart in all directions. This torus field is the fundamental structure of all creation, from atoms to galaxies. By replicating this pattern in your personal energy system, you become a fractal mirror of the monad itself. Operating from this heart-based zero-point field fundamentally changes how manifestation works. Traditional law of attraction teaches that you must match the vibration of what you desire. This keeps you perpetually chasing, always in a state of not yet having. The zero-point approach recognizes that all possible realities already exist simultaneously in the quantum field. You're not creating something new. You're selecting which timeline to collapse into physical experience. Jesus demonstrated this understanding when he multiplied loaves and fishes. He didn't pray for more food to appear. He accessed the zero-point field where infinite loaves and fishes already existed as potentials. His consciousness selected the timeline where thousands were fed and collapsed that potential into the physical dimension. Witnesses describe the food appearing from nowhere, materializing continuously as needed. This is direct monadic creation, without intermediary steps. You can apply this same principle to any manifestation desire. Instead of visualizing yourself receiving money, sense the timeline where you already possess abundant wealth. Feel into that reality, as if remembering a past event, rather than hoping for a future one. Your zero-point field cannot distinguish between memory and imagination. Both are simply information patterns. When you hold the completed reality with sufficient coherence and feeling, the quantum field must collapse into that pattern. The critical factor is removing all emotional charge from the outcome. Desperation, neediness, and attachment to specific timing or methods all collapse the wave function prematurely into undesired results. Jesus maintained perfect emotional neutrality because he operated from monadic consciousness, which already contains everything. From that state, manifestation is simply rearranging energy patterns. No more significant than moving furniture in a room you already own. Practice generating your heart, torus field daily. Sit quietly and sense the energy descending from above and rising from below, meeting at your heart. Feel the implosion point, and then the expansion radiating outward in all directions. As this field stabilizes, introduce your intention and immediately release it into the field. Trust that the monadic intelligence knows the perfect path and timing for manifestation. Your only job is maintaining the frequency state, not managing the delivery mechanism. The ultimate goal isn't accessing monadic resonance occasionally during meditation, but living permanently from this frequency. Jesus didn't switch between human limitation and divine power. He maintained constant monadic awareness while appearing to function in the physical world. This is the difference between performing miracles and being the miracle. When you stabilize in monadic consciousness, your entire existence becomes a continuous act of instant creation. This permanent shift requires dissolving the fundamental illusion of separation between you and Source. Most spiritual seekers maintain subtle dualism, believing they're connecting to something outside themselves. True monadic realization recognizes that the Source, the creation, and the Creator are one indivisible reality. You're not a separate being trying to access the monad, you are the monad, experiencing itself through this particular focal point of awareness. Begin noticing throughout your day when you slip into separation consciousness. Common indicators include feeling powerless, waiting for external circumstances to change, or believing you need something you don't currently have. Each time you notice these patterns, pause and return to the silent awareness practice. Remind yourself that the monad lacks nothing and fears nothing. As you genuinely identify with this consciousness rather than the conditioned personality, your default state shifts. Jesus lived from this awareness constantly. This is why he never worried about food, shelter, or safety. Not because he had blind faith in external protection, but because he understood himself as the source of all provision. When he needed a fish with a coin in its mouth, it appeared. When he required transportation across water, he walked on it. When authorities threatened him, they mysteriously couldn't touch him until his chosen timing. This isn't magical thinking. It's physics operating from a higher dimensional perspective. You can develop this same relationship with reality. Start with small, low-stakes manifestations. Instead of going to the store when you need something, pause and enter monadic resonance. Hold the silent, knowing that you already possess what you need. Often, The item will appear through unexpected channels. Someone gifts it to you. You find it. It shows up in your environment, mysteriously. These small wins build evidence that rewires your belief system. As your confidence grows, apply the silent prayer code to larger manifestations. Career opportunities, relationships, health transformations, and financial abundance all respond to the same principle. The size of the manifestation matters only to your conditioned mind, not to the monad. Creating $1 or $1 million requires identical energetic effort from the zero-point field. Your limitations exist purely in belief structures that dissolve when you consistently operate from monadic consciousness. The final integration happens when you recognize that you're never not creating. Every thought, feeling, and state of consciousness generates reality constantly. The question isn't whether you have manifestation power, but whether you're wielding it consciously or unconsciously. Jesus' silent prayer practice provides the technology for conscious, intentional, instant creation aligned with your highest purpose. Living as embodied monadic consciousness transforms not just your personal reality, but the collective field. Each person who stabilizes in this frequency weakens the Archontic overlay for everyone. You become a walking disruption to the control matrix simply by existing in sovereign creation consciousness. This is why this knowledge was suppressed so violently throughout history. A population of instant manifestors cannot be controlled, manipulated, or harvested. Choose to activate your monadic heritage. Choose to create like Jesus did. The silent prayer code awaits your recognition and application. Leave your comment, like, subscribe, and share. On the Divine Light Academy channel, we have new videos every day, revealing the suppressed technologies of consciousness that activate your instant manifestation abilities. Join our community of sovereign creators, living beyond limitation.